Sav and Yulana decide to uncover the truth. The explosion was caused by a safety test, which had failed 3 times in 3 years. This was the 4th test. The test aimed to see if the nuclear plant could operate safely in emergencies like a power outage. To test this, the reactor's power had to be reduced to 70 megawatts. Unable to bear the power reduction, they hoped to delay the test by 10 hours. The deputy chief engineer, eager for his performance, decided to proceed immediately. Most night shift workers were newcomers who didn't know how to operate and relied on inadequate manuals. A nuclear reactor is like a heating and cooling device balancing each other. In a balanced state, the reactor operates safely, but when the reactor's power is too low, it loses this balance. Workers nervously followed the deputy chief engineer's instructions to lower the power, but he kept urging them. When the power dropped to 70 megawatts, it couldn't be stopped and plummeted to 30 megawatts. They should have shut down the reactor and waited 24 hours for power recovery. But the deputy chief engineer insisted on completing the test that night, ordering the power to be raised back to 70 megawatts. Workers, fearing job loss, followed his orders and removed the control rods from the reactor. Control rods are like safety ropes in rock climbing. Even if you make a mistake, as long as there's a safety rope, there's not much danger. But the workers lost their jobs all at once. The power needed for the 200 megawatt test was 70 megawatts, and 20 megawatts was far from enough to support the cooling water pump's operation. Yet, the deputy chief engineer ordered the test to continue. Due to the lack of cooling circulation and control rods, the reactor core's temperature kept rising, and the system's power surged, leading to a catastrophic explosion. There was still a way to save it. Every nuclear reactor has an emergency stop button. Pressing it would quickly insert all control rods back, stopping the nuclear reaction immediately. However, the government had hollowed out the ends of the control rods, which should have been boron but were replaced with graphite, accelerating the reaction. When the workers pressed the emergency button, it sped up the reactor's explosion. This is the full reason for the Chernobyl explosion. Sav revealed all this truth but was imprisoned for damaging the country's reputation. He became a hero to the world but a criminal to his country. Unable to endure the brutal treatment, he hanged himself. The official in charge of handling the incident, Sherbina, died of illness 4 years after the accident. The real culprit, plant manager Tret, was only sentenced to 10 years of labor reform. After Sav's death, the Soviet government finally admitted the design flaws of the reactor, and the situation of other nuclear plants was successfully improved. Everything that happened in Chernobyl serves as a warning. The accident originated from lies, and the cost of those lies was so tragic.